Today we're talking about the G502 Special Edition from Logitech. This is a wired mouse, so I know it's going to be a turn off to some people. But I was just using a wireless mouse and I hit a weird spot where it started working funny and we're having some connection and battery issues, and I decided, you know what, it's time for me to go back to a wired mouse. The performance isn't that much difference for me when I get into the differences between a wired and a wireless, so I figured, let's take a look. I actually went down to Best Buy. This was just after Christmas, no special sales. I found this thing for $25. Now, that being said, if you find it anywhere else online, the going price is about 35 bucks. But for a gaming mouse that's the same level that several of the pros use, pro players that is, I don't see any reason people would steer away from this. It's got 11 programmable buttons, which is probably more than the average user needs. And while I'm talking about it, that's one of the things I want to touch on. Every time you see these reviews, they're talking about high DPI and speeds and this, but that's not really what the average person needs a mouse for. And this is kind of what got me turned on to this. When I started using it, it feels great in your hand. It's perfect, it's got the right ergonomic shape, and all the buttons are right where you need, and they don't click too loud, which is another thing, especially when I'm doing streaming. I don't want a high clicking mouse and keyboard. I understand if you're a gamer, you want those mechanical clicks, and that's awesome. But when you're on stream or I'm doing something like this where I'm recording myself, I don't necessarily want all that in the background. I might be reaching for my keyboard or my mouse right now, but you won't hear it. The other thing that's cool about it is that it has an RGB built into it. So you can customize the color, you can have it just rotate through colors, which I believe is the preset when you take it out of the box. But it actually comes with very easy software you can download, and it's super easy to figure out. You can make it whatever color you want. I have mine, it generally just matches the colors that are on my stream in case it comes up on camera or whatever, but it's really, really simple. I think that's one of the other things people are really going to like about it. So obviously it's the price is the first thing, then you've got the shape, and then you've got the fact that it works great for so many things. And let's take a look at it. Just giving you the 360 view here, it looks good. Like, it looks like a very high-end, expensive gaming mouse. And interestingly, it kind of is. It's designed just like the other G502s in the Hero line. And this one's pretty interesting because it's really just a different colorway. If you compare it to the other models that they have in the 502 lines, it's really just that different white striping that changes the look. But otherwise, all the stats are virtually identical for the average user. So if you want that high-end feel, you want to look sharp, maybe even impress your other friends if you do some gaming or some MMOs, you play some WoW or whatever, or you're getting together and having people over on their laptops, people will love it. It looks good, it's impressive, it doesn't cost, $100 like some of the other mice in that same category. If I have any downsides to it, the one thing I would say is that the scroll wheel, though it's infinite, and I mean infinite, you can push it and it just goes. It doesn't, it's like, it's the giant Wheel of Fortune thing that just doesn't stop. But ultimately, it could use a little bit of grip. That said, it's got a button right behind the mouse. You can set that, and then it'll at least give you the clicking frequency, so whenever you're rolling through, it'll stop. Otherwise, it can be a little loose, and you can get a little weird when scrolling on pages or playing your favorite game. You have to have a little more control over that. I'm sure there's some gamers that appreciate that a little more than the average user, but I've gone back and forth in testing it. I like the freeness of the free infinite wheel, but truthfully, when I really am just searching around, or I'm trying to work on my YouTube page, I really want more of that control, so I set the click into place, and it's literally a one button. You don't even have to think about it, it's pretty simple. I don't think the programmability of the mouse is necessarily something the average person is going to need, though maybe you want just one touch to skip back on a page or auto scroll page down, who knows what, right? And for that, if you have some common things you use regularly, yeah, it'd be great to do that and just set it up the way you want. So far I've been using it for about 2 weeks and I haven't really changed anything on it. I'm using it as is, stock out of the box. The only thing I've changed is the color and the lighting. I just set it to a green so it matches what I have on my stream. But otherwise, it's really, really good. If you want to take a look at some other pictures here, the only other thing I would say about it is it has picked up a little bit of dust, but I don't think that's necessarily a case of the mouse as much as it is just me needing to clean my desk pads more often. But I would recommend this to almost anyone. It's one of those things where I had been looking for a better mouse, but I didn't want to spend really, I mean, you almost start at $50 when you're talking about quality mice to use on your computers. And it's understandable. These days, they're just higher quality. They come with mechanical parts. You know, one of the things I even want to add here, this even has customizable weights. So here you can see they have a set of, each of these is 3.6 grams. So you can get up to an additional, I believe, 18 grams you can have inside the mouse. So if you want it to be sturdier, you like that bulky feel, or maybe your hands are just larger and it feels better pushing around a little more weight, you can do that. It's completely customizable. I've put some in and messed with it. I took them out and left it alone. I'm probably more of a lighter mouse person in hindsight, but it's cool to have that as an option. And that's something else you don't get in those cheaper mice. You know, you can go to Best Buy and right across the aisle from these, you could have got that $6 to $10 mouse and it would have functioned. It would have had your right and left click and maybe a simple scroll wheel, and that would have been it. And that's fine. However, those are probably also going to break sooner or later, and they're not going to be good for the majority of gaming. They're going to scroll a little slow, their speeds aren't going to be as fast, and they're not going to be as receptive. So this is one of those situations where they've managed to produce really a high-end product at an affordable cost, and it's really impressive. Sure, there's a couple of very minor flaws with it, but I could see a lot of gamers using this. It's already designed after the model that most high-end pro video gamers use. It's preferred by a lot of people, and that's one of the things that got me turned on to it. And when I saw there was a new model, I kind of looked, and I was surprised to see that it was so cheap. You can find the other G502s, and like I said, around the $50-ish range, and they'll go all the way up. You know, the hero models go all the way up to, I believe, 120, 130. So to find this one for $25 right off the shelf was awesome. Even now, I think that must have been a special going price because I can't find it there. I was going to link everybody to it, but now I've seen them still in the $35 range, which is still exceptionally good, and that's still $15 than the next grouping of what I would call quality mice that come in at $50. So overall, definitely give this a strong recommendation. It's one of those things, I used it for a day. I went in, I even bragged to my wife. They're like, man, this feels great. This feels like one of those high-end mice. You know, she's also a gamer, so we've looked at these and said, yeah, this is a great price for what you're getting. You're not, you have full customizability. You can make it weighted, you can make it colored, you can do whatever you want to it, and you're not spending a ton of money to have those options. That's the biggest selling point. So overall, color me very impressed. I would highly recommend it. It's very good, and I'm a big fan of Logitech. I think they've made a lot of good items. I mean, I'm using a Logitech webcam right now. So, and again, this isn't sponsored. This is just me sharing a good value that I found that I think I want to pass on to people. So if you're having mouse problems and you're looking for a replacement at an affordable cost, the G502 Special Edition, highly recommended. You can find it for about $15 less than the other 502, what they call hero models, is kind of what the design of the mouse is. But yeah, just look for that one. It's totally worth it. Hope this is helpful for you. I kind of want to give reviews that are just something more that the average person can use and not necessarily for the techie with all the specs. I just want to talk practically, and from a practicality standpoint, this is a really nice mouse to have. I would even say if you've only ever used what we'll call the cheap mice, the inexpensive mice that are in the, you know, sub $20 range, treat yourself next time. Try one of these out, and I would venture to guess you're not going to want to go back. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Hope you enjoy it. See you next time. I want to say thanks for watching the video, And remember to please like, subscribe, and comment because that helps a bunch. And if you want to keep up with me and my shenanigans, always feel free to follow me on Twitch and on Twitter, where we're just as active. Thanks. See you next time.